What is up, space pirates? This is your Admiral, the boundlessly boisterous Dr. Disaster, and for months now, we have been reporting on rumors that Ncuti Gatwa was going to be out on Doctor Who after only 2 seasons, breaking with the 3-season protocol that has been established ever since Christopher Eccleston's single season at the outset of the modern Who revival.
Look at that. I was right. Note the lack of surprise.
Yeah, it turns out that these rumors were absolutely true. Ncuti Gatwa is done as the Doctor after 2 failed seasons. He will go down as easily the least popular Doctor in the history of the show, and I say that based on ratings, pure numbers. 9 of the top 10 worst episodes in terms of viewership belong to Ncuti Gatwa's Doctor, which is an incredible feat considering that he only made 16 episodes. And what's funny to me is that Disney hoped they were signing on to some incredible new partnership when they signed on to Doctor Who.
Well, I guess you're out of luck, aren't you?
And this brings us to the question of just what lies in store for Doctor Who in the future. It is unclear if Disney will give this thing another go and sign another contract to fund the show. If you think the ratings for Doctor Who are bad in the UK, well, in the US, where the show became available as a result of the Disney deal, not a single episode of Doctor Who hit the top 10 streaming list at all in the United States. Nobody cared about the damn thing, and yet the show appears as though it is set to continue on. The 15th Doctor has regenerated, and this time into another woman.
I'm not a bit surprised.
And it's not just any woman. Billie Piper, who played Rose Tyler during the Christopher Eccleston and David Tennant years, arguably the most popular companion in the modern era. She is inexplicably back as the 16th Doctor because, let's face it, they don't have anything left. The writers are obviously clueless hacks with no idea how to tell a story any longer. And get this, remember when David Tennant's 14th Doctor regenerated into Ncuti Gatwa? They had that bi-generation nonsense, so that actually there is still a David Tennant character just running around in the Whoniverse. Let's be real, because the motivation is transparently obvious. The plan is to reunite Tennant and Piper, and now he can be her companion. They will take arguably the most popular Doctor Who pairing and invert it, because these people never learn.
Oh, for f***'s sakes, are you kidding me?
Have you had enough pain?
Never!
Alright, me hearties, make sure that you hit the like button on this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it yet, and also, don't forget to follow me over on X, where I keep a list of video games lousy with wokeness pinned to the account at all times for your reference, though I am also thinking that I'm going to add some TV shows and movies, things like Doctor Who as well. Anyhow, my handle over there is Dr. Disaster 1, and also, I've started uploading content onto Rumble as well, so make sure that you follow Dr. Disaster on that platform too. Anyhow, let's look at the overnight ratings for the season finale of the most recent Doctor Who. The Radio Times has the numbers, and as usual, they also have some very positive spin. The first sentence in this article is a bit of a laugh riot. The jam-packed Doctor Who season finale drew an impressive audience on BBC One last night. Just for comparison's sake, I looked up the overnight ratings for the final episode of Matt Smith's final season as the Doctor. That episode was called The Name of the Doctor, and it had 5.46 million overnight viewers, which is a number number that beats the ever-living crap out of the full 7-day viewership of any Ncuti Gatwa episode ever. So, when the Radio Times tries to tell you that the overnight viewership for this latest episode is impressive, you'll know what I mean when I tell you that they are utterly full of shit. But anyhow, reading on. 2.2 million fans tuned in to watch what would turn out to be Ncuti Gatwa's departure from the TARDIS as the Doctor regenerated into a very familiar face in a surprising twist. It's worth noting that fans also attended screenings of the episode in cinemas all over the country, though these will not factor into the ratings. But I thought the ratings were a really impressive audience number, so why are you making excuses for them by mentioning the few people who watched the reality war in the movie theater? And let's be effing real, nobody did this. Virtually nobody will have went to the movie theater to watch this latest episode. I'm willing to bet that the numbers are embarrassing for these cinematic showings. But anyhow, the Radio Times doesn't stop with their cringy attempts to make it sound like this episode had exciting viewership figures. It says, the numbers make The Reality War the second best performing episode of the season in terms of overnight ratings. Well, whoopity-doo there, guys. It has the second best overnight viewership in a season where the viewership has dried up to the point that damn near everything they put out was either at or near all-time record lows. To put this into terms that are perhaps easier to digest, the second most attractive ogre is still an ogre, and nobody wants to sleep with it. In truth, they are trying to artificially drum up excitement surrounding this regeneration reveal. This was the first time in the modern Doctor Who era where they did not previously announce the Doctor's regeneration. They really wanted to create some mystery and some buzz, but in actuality these numbers show us that it landed with a dud, just like the rest of everything that Bad Wolf has done with Doctor Who ever since they took over the show a few years ago now. And to be clear, that is precisely why they went with the Rose Tyler reappearance in the first place. This is another cheap gimmick, and it reminds me of comic books in the 1990s. For anyone who doesn't know, I like comic books, and back in the 90s, comics were pretty popular, and in order to make a particular book stand out in the crowd, a bunch of these comic books would have holographic covers and alternate art covers and that sort of thing. The gimmicks ramped up more and more back in the 90s until diminishing returns kicked in and people stopped caring about the gimmicks. And then comic books were in trouble. A lot of them were in a lot of trouble because a lot of the people selling them forgot how to actually make comics that people actually liked. They were too accustomed to leaning on the gimmicks. So, a few years ago, in order to drum up interest in Doctor Who, the writers for the show used the first female Doctor gimmick with Jodie Whittaker, and for a brief period, the gimmick worked. People tuned in for the first part of her first season, but viewership dropped precipitously over time. Then, Russell T Davies thought he'd reel people back in with a brief reappearance of the most popular Doctor of the modern era. They used David Tennant as the short-lived 14th Doctor. It was another gimmick, followed by another progressive gimmick. They thought they could draw people in with the first Black Doctor as the 15th Doctor. But the gimmicks just don't work anymore because we know the truth. Modern writers suck shit through a straw. They don't know how to write compelling Doctor Who stories. They hide their fundamental misunderstanding of the show behind these transparently manipulative gimmicks, which brings us back around to Rose Tyler's appearance being the face of the 16th Doctor. It is a gimmick, folks. My guess is that they'll do a few episodes with this version of the Doctor very similar to the 60th anniversary specials that they did with David Tennant, and then Rose will regenerate into someone else. Speaking of Tennant, as I said earlier, I will bet you dollars to donuts that this bi-generated self will tag along with Rose Tyler Doctor and be her companion. The real question is whether or not Disney will continue on with this nonsense and who will be running the show at the BBC. Signs have pointed to Bad Wolf no longer being involved with Doctor Who, which wouldn't be surprising considering the exorbitant failures that we're talking about here. But that's the thing about a government program like the BBC. They don't give a shit about wasted money in the end. And why would they? It isn't their money. It's yours. So they might keep making Doctor Who until doomsday, even if the viewership consists only of households with dogs who step on the TV remote and accidentally turn the program on. But I'm gonna leave it there. How stupid is this 16th Doctor reveal? Drop your thoughts into the comment section below, and we will talk there. Thanks for watching, me hearties. If you haven't already, your Admiral is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of booty.